a written production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.
Good morning. Good morning. I call this Board of Directors meeting to order and ask that you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So welcome to the March meeting of the RCSC Board. My name is Karen McAdam, and I am the Vice President of the Board. President Fimmel is participating virtually today because of an illness. So this regular meeting of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Board of Directors is audio and video recorded by the RCS management and staff. Please be advised that there is to be no recording of this meeting by any individual. A reminder, pull out your electronic devices and make sure that they're on silent, please. So our timekeeper today is Director Collins. And the 3-minute limit is designated for all of those of you who have signed up to speak to a motion. We ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes out of courtesy to all those who wish to speak today. So I'd like to introduce the management staff who's with us today. Our General Manager, Matthew D. Luzansky, is out of town today and not in attendance, but more than adequately represented by his senior management staff. So Kevin McCurdy, Supporter of Finance, Senior Leader. Good morning. Mike Wieprud, Facilities Senior Leader. Good morning. Mike Dermeyer, our non-golf Senior Leader. Good morning. Brian Duthu, Golf Senior Leader. Debbie Giles, Assistant to the General Manager. And Marcia Johnson, our Board Coordinator. Good morning. And we also recognize our audio and visual engineers, Alan Kleinhans and Doreen Rafferty. Thank you for your service today, as well as to all those of the Sundial staff who have helped to prepare this room for this meeting. This is a very warm welcome, particularly to any RCSC members who are attending for the first time. Do we have any first-timers out there? Welcome, welcome. We are glad that you're here. So the first item of business is a roll call of the voting members for confirmation, and we have now an acting secretary, Connie Richtmeyer. Would you please take the roll call?
I'll give it a shot. President Fimmel.
Good morning.
Vice President McAdam.
Good morning.
Okay, what do we do about where it says Director Foster?
Oh,
Yeah, count them? No?
skip over them.
Skip over them. Okay, thank you. Me, I'm here. Director Ruff.
Present. Good morning, folks.
Okay. Director Keiss.
Here.
Director Borski.
Morning.
Director Collins.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so we have a quorum, but we're going to have more of a quorum.
That's right. Okay. All right. So the next point of business is the installation of our new board members. As has been communicated to you through the channels that are available to us, we had 2 resignations of sitting board members, and the board, in such cases, appoints 2 members to serve for the remainder of this calendar year. So I would like to ask our 2 appointees to come to the podium. So is this working here? Yes, okay. So, on behalf of the RCSC Board of Directors, we congratulate you on your appointment, which runs through the remainder of 2024, and also thank you for your willingness to serve in this capacity. So, during your tenure on the board, you will be called upon to serve numerous, varied, and sometimes conflicting interests on behalf of the corporation and its members. The RCSC Board has placed their trust in your leadership, expertise, and judgment to act in the best interest of the community as a whole. Do your best, knowing that the decisions you make today will lead to the future success of Sun City. Directors Chris Nettleheim and Tom Foster, do you pledge to uphold the Articles of Incorporation, the corporation's bylaws, and board policies to the best of your ability, and to work for the benefit of our community?
I do.
We thank you and wish you success in this undertaking. Now, please come up to the stage and join us. So next, we turn our attention to the agenda, the posted agenda for today. Are there any questions, comments, or changes recommended to the agenda?
Madam Vice President, I have a change.
Acting Secretary Richtmeyer, yes.
That's a mouthful. I would like to remove my my motion for the lawn bowling clubs. It's already been through all the process, and I was just over enthusiastic, so it can be withdrawn.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Second from Director Keiss. Please, is there any further discussion?
I don't think so. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but if anyone wants to
Okay.
discuss, they can.
All right, please take the roll call vote on that.
Okay, to remove the lawn bowling motion from the agenda, Vice President McAdam,
Yes.
Director Nettleheim? Yes. Director Keiss,
Yes.
Director Foster,
Yes.
Director Collins,
Yes.
Director Ruff,
Yes.
Director Borski,
Yes.
President Fimmel,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So, Madam Vice President, that was 9-4 and no against, 0 against.
Okay, with a result of 9 in favor and 0 against, the agenda item is removed from today's agenda. Are there any other recommended changes? Okay, with that, the agenda stands. Next, the minutes of the February 29th meeting were posted. Are there any corrections or addition to the minutes? There being no corrections or additions, the minutes of that meeting are approved. Treasurer's report. Treasurer Borski.
The balance of unrestricted funds as of February 29th, 2024 was $19.6 million, which includes a $2.5 million cash reserve. Restricted funds include the Preservation and Improvement Fund and the Capital Reserve Fund. As of February 29th, 2024, PIF had a balance of $33 million, and Capital Reserve Fund had a balance of $5.6 million. Capital Improvement Funds, CIF, received to date totaled $194,000. The carry-forward balance as of February 29th was $5.9 million. This balance decreased from the 2023 year-end balance of $10.4 million due to the allocation of $6.5 million in carry-forward funds towards the 2024 budgeted capital projects. The corporation operated within its budget year-to-date in 2024. Respectively submitted, Anita Borski, Treasurer.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on the Treasurer's report? There being no questions or additions, the Treasurer's report is filed for audit. Management report. that happening?
Well, the management report, you just find out if anybody has any questions or
Okay,
comments on it.
so the management report is, okay, different than, yeah. So Director Ruff.
Thank you. Kevin, would you please talk about how much money we took in last year from guest passes and also from the privilege card holders? So that was one of the things that's not obvious in the spreadsheets that we look at. So I'd asked him previously to break it out, but I thought everybody'd like to hear what that was.
This on? Alan? Here we
There
go.
you go.
So Director Ruff, I did get that request, and we've altered that report to break that out, and you'll see that in March. Looking at last year, the total privilege card income was $141,000 at this time last year. This year, we're at $146,800 for privilege card revenue. Post punch cards, year-to-date currently is 42.4. Talking about the full year?
Yeah, we're talking about the full year for last year, just for context rather than monthly. I remember 670,000 plus or minus.
Yeah, give me a second to look that up.
Okay.
Yeah, so the 2023 number is about 600,000 for privilege cards, and host punch cards, 221,000.
Thank you.
Okay.
Treasurer Borski.
Kevin, last year, the assessment increase went up. What month was that?
It was effective January 1.
January 1? Okay. And Mike Whitford, on the work orders, the days to close the work order, what happened in February? Did it soared so high?
Director Borski, yeah, thank you for the question. We had the shortage of staff in the months of November and December, medical leave, and so what happened in February was a closing of orders that should have been closed earlier, but the time still logs. So it shows a big spike. I see that. It's going to smooth back out. We've got everything's fully staffed again, but it's not really reflective of being 31 days.
I thought maybe you all went on vacation or something.
It was a manpower issue and not crisply closing work orders, which is what these folks do, especially the man that was on medical leave. Anyway, long story longer, we still take about 10 days on average to close work orders, and that's been a very steady figure for the last 3 years since I've been here.
Okay, thank you. And Brian, one question for you. Excuse me. You talk about no-shows. Do you have any idea how many, or I'm sure you do, how many no-shows we have on average?
For golf.
Director Borski.
Yeah.
It's on.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Director Borski, we average right around 25 to 30% of our no-show rate, which sounds high, but in my experience, when golf is kind of a historical number for golf in general. You know, when I was with American Golf, we tracked it religiously, and that was, even with credit card guarantees and that type of thing, we were still in the 20 to 25% range.
And are we bumping people out because of that?
We have recently learned that if, for those that have a high propensity to no-show and not pay, that they're going to have a harder time through the lottery of securing a tee time. So that's the only, and at this month's golf advisory, we tasked the committee to start generating some ideas on how to combat the no-show problem in general. We hope to have a more formal process in place by May.
Thank you.
Karen?
Director Ruff.
Mike Whitford, do you have any sense of how much longer it'll be for the Bell Spa to be repaired? I work out there and I get asked a lot.
Thank you for the question, Director Ruff. We're having a design review with an engineering firm that we hired to help us solve a very difficult problem in that room with the dehumidifier next to it, et cetera, et cetera. So we have this engineering in hand, but the fix isn't on this year's budget. So what we're going to try to do after we have this engineering review, which is tomorrow, as a matter of fact, is try to maybe get one of our contractor partners to take a quick look at it and give us a kind of a swag on what they think it'll cost. But I think the bottom line is we're not going to have that space fixed for quite some time, maybe not even till the end of 2025. I just don't know. Well, maybe I shouldn't say the end of 25, but into 2025, I would think is realistic at this point. It's pretty involved. But I can't put an ECD on it. We haven't bid it out.
Understood. Thank you.
You bet.
Acting Secretary Richtmeyer.
Okay, sorry about that. You can just say secretary, we get rid of the acting for. Is it, sorry, because my engineering stuff kicks in. Is it equipment, room, ventilation? Can you just give us like a brief summary what's going on?
Yes to all the above.
Ooh, okay, all right, then that
Including
makes
walls,
sense.
flooring. The room is in bad shape.
Okay.
The dehumidifier died, which is why we had to shut the spa down. So we're trying to figure out, we did have some discussions internally about repurposing that room into something else. But GM D. Lazansky said, no, let's get it back up as a spa. But it's going to be a pretty costly, or a costlier alternative than just turning that room into something else. I should be able to tell you guys more after we meet with the engineer tomorrow. But it's not an easy situation for sure. If you'd like to come and join our engineering review, I'd be happy to invite you.
What time?
I can't remember.
I have a 9 a.m. meeting, but
Okay.
I'm available probably after 10.
Okay, thank you.
8 a.m. No,
I can make it.
okay, that's up at our building up there on Union Hills.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have one more question.
Yes, Treasurer Borski.
Kevin, I have one more question for you. You speak of replacing many vehicles. How many is many?
I'm sorry, Director Borski, this year it'll be 13, including the dump truck that the grounds team uses.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any other comments or questions about the management report? So I actually have one, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to direct this to the Director of Golf or the Director of Non-Golf. Who handles mini-golf? The non-golf guy, okay. So I just happened serendipitously to be at the Mountain View Center yesterday and was told by a staff member there that the mini golf is open for play. Is that true?
Mike actually may be able to answer this officially, but it's close. There was one more glue issue that was being taken care of, and then my plan is to send an email blast out to everybody announcing it, because we want to make a big deal about it.
I see, okay, so I did see that there was a big rock in the volcano, and I thought, oh, I wonder if this is a gluing issue. So
There is a minor issue still, so we didn't want to announce it yet until everything was ready to go.
I see, okay, so this is just fair to alert everybody that in the very, very near future, that should be open, and to keep your eyes peeled for an email blast announcing the reopening of the mini golf.
Yeah, that could be fixed today, so it could be today it goes out.
Okay. It looks beautiful, by the way, so congratulations to the team that has spearheaded the reopening of that. Okay. There being no further corrections or additions, the management report is accepted. We now move on to committee reports that are generally offered by the chairs or the co-chairs of the committee. However, today's committee report comes from the survey subcommittee of the Long Range Planning Committee and will be offered by subcommittee member Sherry Marchio. Thank you, Sherry.
Good morning. The Long Range Planning Committee developed 5 really aggressive goals this year, and taking a deeper dive into the ASU work was one of those goals. And the subcommittee, we divided up into subcommittees, and this subcommittee has other members besides me, and they are Steve Oakes, Candy Ruggiero, and Russ Tolman. So the idea is that back in 2019, the idea of a large survey came into being, and it resulted in ASU being deployed for a survey in 2023. And we really wanted to revisit it and make sure that we obtained the value for that investment. We wanted to act on feedback, and we wanted to deliver on our mission, vision, and values, specifically regarding value member input, delivering high-quality amenities, and improving operations. Do we have the presentation, please? So ASU was engaged. I'm going to have to turn this, sorry. ASU was engaged to poll current members, current residents, and their perceptions, to poll our future possible residents and see what they're looking for, and then for a comparison of our programs against peer communities. The deliverables, many of us are familiar with the first column, the resident questionnaire, which we had over 6,000 responses. And then we had 200 people participating in the focus and working groups. And these were facilitated by seasoned ASU professionals, and about 200 of our residents participated in those sessions. What you may not be familiar with is the benchmark data, trend analysis, and future residents. Benchmark report was a nice report. It compared Sun City to 35 other 55-plus communities. A lot of great information. There was a trend analysis report that looked at online and public information for 55-plus communities, where we're headed, where this age group is headed, lifestyle kinds of things. And then a group of 40 to 55-year-olds, 765 people responded to, what am I thinking about when I think about retirement, and am I thinking about a retirement community? So what we learned, we were very pleased with the unexpected high member response to the resident survey and follow-up activities. We identified areas of improvement for future survey design. We found that the additional ASU deliverables beyond the survey had significant value to glean. There's a lot of information to explore, share, and for use by planning for many groups within Sun City. But 4 clear action items emerged, and that's what we want to talk about today. Hopefully you found a handout in the back for the audience. If not, these documents are online on the ASU page on the website. But we have an 8-page supporting document that goes with this presentation today. And what we've done as a subcommittee, we poured through all of the tools, implements that were provided by ASU and resulting from all of these surveys and meetings and working groups. We have recommendations, we have sources for our data, and we have comments. So the 4 areas that we felt were really important were walking paths, socialization spaces, placement of a full or part-time fitness professional, and upscale dining options, specifically with a lake or golf course view. 63% of peer communities have walking spaces in their communities. Now, granted, we're an older community, but we feel, and we're already designed, but we feel there's opportunities for this, and people really want it. Socialization spaces, 73%, or 75%, I'm sorry, of peer communities have diverse choices for working, dining, and socializing. We have an opportunity here. Most of our fitness centers are outdated, and the fitness needs have changed over time, and they continue to change. We feel hiring a fitness professional to manage fitness equipment and activities would be appropriate. And finally, 28 of the 36 peers communities that were reviewed have at least one upscale dining option. So it's a little controversial. Some people say restaurants, no way, but I think there's an opportunity. People want it, so we can explore what that might look like. We have met with the GM. We shared our recommendations. They were well received. He recommended that we also bring these recommendations to the joint 5-year planning group that has management, finance and budget, and LRP members on it currently. But we look forward to the possibilities of short-term and long-term implementation of the recommendations and the findings that have come out of the ASU work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sherry. Before you go, can I just ask to see whether there are any board members who have questions or comments for you? Director Collins.
I just have one question. Upscale dining.
Yeah.
I don't see our residents in Sun City wanting upscale dining.
Right.
They're more like George's, they want cheap dining. I don't know, how did we come up with?
Well, there's supporting documentation here, you can take a look. But it came up frequently, that's what people want in their community. They want something, upscale is just more than what we have, I guess, a gathering place. I think it needs to be explored because people are requesting it. What exactly does that mean? I don't think it means an $80 dinner a person. That's not what it means. But some pub-style kinds of things, maybe.
Okay.
But worth exploration. A lot of people are mentioning it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have something.
Yes, Director Price. Kais.
I just want to say that the subcommittee did an outstanding job. There are hundreds, literally hundreds and hundreds of pages that they scoured through to get this information for us. They put in a lot of time on it, and I really appreciate the efforts they did for us, so thank you.
Director Ruff.
Just as a test, how many of the people in the audience would like to see an upscale restaurant in the area? Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Yes.
I'm going to take a stab here. Is upscale BJ's? Do you consider that upscale? That's on Northern?
Tablecloths?
Or is upscale Olive Garden? Not Olive Garden.
Right.
Okay, so you're looking tablecloths, cloth napkins, that kind of restaurant? Yeah, wine list. Okay, thank you. My husband won't go to, if there's cloth tablecloths, he won't go. And definitely if they have cloth napkins.
All right. Well, I think this is just a really marvelous example of the engagement of the volunteers in our community to help formulate a pathway forward. So a warm thank you to all of those who scoured through the hundreds of pages of documentation that were provided to you, and for the ongoing process of seeing where this may lead. All right. Next would be a Recreation Center update report. Mr. Weepred, do you have something for us here?
Yes, I do. Vice President McAdam. This is from...
I think we need a little help with the audio here.
Hello? There we go. My voice carries pretty well, but that probably helps. This is from Matthew. Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Good Friday is tomorrow and Easter on Sunday. Wow, time flies when you're having fun, and when you work where recreation is our first name, it should be fun, most of the time anyway. I have been in this GM role for 6 months next week, and it has been fun, exciting, challenging, never dull and boring, that is for sure. Here are a few things you might find of interest. The Lakeview Mountain Webb waterfall was turned on 2 weeks ago, and it looks and sounds great. The water is tumbling into the lagoons and flowing out into Viewpoint Lake. The remaining fountains should be installed in a couple of weeks. On the mini golf front, the Mountain View Golf Course mini golf renovations are complete, and the Bell mini golf renovations start next week. So by the end of April, all 4 of our mini golfs will have been redone in the last few months. We are buying some much-needed vehicles to replace our oldest and most expensive to keep running, including a new dump truck. We are also looking at our fleet and matching vehicles with specific needs rather than just replacing them. We are meeting with website developers who are responding to the request for proposal that went out earlier this month. Responses are due back in April. We will decide in May and plan to have the new website done this fall. The RFP to architects and engineers for the new Mountain View and PAC plan is going out this week. We will be working on this over the coming months and should make a decision later this year as to which firm will be taking us into the next phase, schematic design. Staff changes continue. The new organizational structure is taking shape in reality and in our HR and accounting systems. And phone lists, thanks to the hard work of those involved, thank you, thank you. And some adjustment in philosophy is underway. With better compensation comes greater expectations, and some are self-selecting their departure, and we are hiring great new people. Leaders will need to spend some time developing strategy and staff as the new structure and philosophy takes hold, at least a few months, I'd say. The work on documenting processes is moving along with the initial 25 processes identified for flow charting. Then 10 of those will have complete written process documents done to near ISO 9000 standards, with 5 of those further defined down to work instructions. We will do 25 more processes, then we will do 25 more processes. If this all sounds like a foreign language, take heart. We are hiring an Uber experienced consultant to jumpstart our documentation with process flows, diagrams, and several detailed examples of good procedure development and a draft quality manual. And finally, we are working on a safety and security, rolling out training for safety using one or more proven systems to start. We are also reviewing our property's security with an eye towards hardening our perimeter, as they say in safety speak, with walls, fencing, and gates. We are looking at our practices for simple risk mitigation measures that we can take, like not having clubs open when centers are closed. So as usual, there's a lot going on. Change is happening. Check out the April Sun City update and our website for more information, charts, and schedules. Thank you. Matthew Bielzansky.
Thank you, Mr. Weepred. Are there any questions or comments? Director Collins.
Yes, it's nice to hear you say you're having some fun. I know for the last couple of years it has been made you lose most of your hair, so I'm glad to see you're enjoying yourself. Thank you.
Director Foster.
So some of that was news to me. You mentioned changing the website, and is is that including some of the software that is working behind that, including software that's integrated to the lottery system for tee times, or is that a separate situation?
Director Foster, the lottery system is actually maintained by Total E-Integrated, which is TEG. You may have heard that term thrown around. That's the software that we use to maintain our member information, do the member billing, do golf lotteries, tee times, accept payments at golf pro shops, snack shops, cardholder services. So TEG maintains and operates the portal, which is where the golf lottery system is housed and operated. The website will be a separate entity from that, but there will be linkages. So it should appear to be seamless when you're on our website and you want to go over to the portal and make a golf lottery entry or a tee time.
So we're satisfied with the operation of that piece of software that integrates across the whole rec center?
I think that depends on who you ask and what day you ask that question. You know, we're constantly making requests from TAG to do maintenance, to do enhancements, to fix bugs, to correct problems. I'll speak for Brian, but seeing all of the ticket traffic that's been going on, we've had our challenges with the lottery system so far this year, and we've been working pretty frequently with TAG to fix issues with that. So I think there's definite room for improvement there, and we're hoping that they up their game and do a better job of responding to our issues, particularly with the lottery system.
Okay, thank you.
Director Keiss.
Going on with that thought, have we explored options of other systems that might be more effective than what TEG is providing us?
Director Keiss, we actually met about 3 weeks ago with another vendor of golf-specific software. And while there are a lot of things there that looked better from an operation standpoint, the one component they didn't provide was a lottery system. So finding a solution that integrates with all the centers like TEG does and provides a golf option is part of the challenge. There are a lot of golf-specific suites out there that work probably better because they're specific to golf, but the total integration isn't there with the rest of RCSC, so that's part of the challenge.
Would it be possible to separate the lottery out and have it somehow integrate into what we use with TEG, or is there a way to make that work so that the difficulties we have don't keep going on?
It can certainly be explored. I don't have an answer right now, but it would be a possible solution to ask. If we could find somebody that could roll the TEG portion. The issue is, I don't know if TEG would be willing to integrate with another database if they're not the ones providing the software, but I can't speak for them on that.
Okay.
Okay, seeing no further questions or comments, let's move on to the next item. There are no president's comments today. Are there any announcements from board members? Okay,
yes, I have something. I was at the fire department meeting, and I was pleased to see that the fire department auxiliary donated $50,000 towards the purchase of a new truck. Now, that money, for the most part, came from the citizens of Sun City, some from Youngtown, but a lot of it came from us. So kudos to the members of Sun City that stepped forward to provide that money that's going to help improve our fire protection. And just as a interesting point of view, the city of Youngtown, the mayor was at the meeting, and they're going to extend the loop on Peoria Avenue to be able to connect to the parkway that's there, which for those of us that work further south, but avoid 101. That'll help make it easier to get onto the Northern Parkway than it is right now. So that's coming up in a few years, but that's being planned and put into place by the city of Youngtown. Okay, thank you.
Okay, seeing no further announcements, we have a consent agenda item. So the first item of business here are two items. Number one, the Apple Macintosh Club has requested to merge with the Computer Club of Sun City, and number two, the Frat Club has requested a name change to the Fun and Games Club of Sun City. Is there a motion to approve this consent agenda item?
I move to approve.
Anita, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Director Ruff, thank you. Any discussion? Secretary Rickmeyer, please take the roll call vote.
Treasurer Borski,
Yes.
Director Foster,
Yes?
Director Collins,
Yes.
Vice President McAdams,
Yes.
Director Ruff,
Yes.
Director Keiss,
Yes.
Director Nedesheim,
Yes.
President Fimmel,
Yes.
and I vote yes, so that is 9 yes and 0 no's.
Okay, with 9 in favor and 0 opposed, the motion is adopted. Okay, next we move on to motions requiring a second reading right now. We have an item, it's the second reading of a motion by Treasurer Borski to amend Board Policy Number 10. Treasurer Borski, would you please read your motion?
I move to amend Board Policy Number 10, titled RCSC Rules and Regulations, section titled Household Pets and Service Animals, item number 3 as follows. I want to add to item number 3, in addition, active members of the Best Friends Dog Club, whose dogs have passed the American Kennel Club's Canine Good Citizen Advanced Certification Evaluation, shall be permitted to participate in Best Friends Dog Club events on RCSC properties after obtaining approval from RCSC management.
Treasurer Borski, as maker of this motion, do you wish to speak first for its adoption?
Yes, these are highly trained dogs, which right now there's 12 of them. The Best Friends Dog Club has said that they will somehow come up with a patch or something that they can be identified. These dogs, as well as their owners, are both trained. They're highly trained. It's the same training that guide dogs go through. They would like limited contact with RCSC property, perhaps the softball area where the grass is, so they can introduce their dog to grass, real grass. Possibly going up the Lakeview, I call it Meeker Mountain, I don't know what that really is called.
Hilltop Park?
By the mini golf, up the hill.
Hilltop Park, yeah.
Okay. And possibly going, they have been going to some restaurants with restaurant approval outside. They have been there, dogs are well behaved. And this motion just allows them to do that for these dogs. However, they will have to have approval from the general manager or whoever he designates.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, will you please read the names of the members who have signed up to speak on this motion?
Barb Kelly.
Good morning. Welcome to the board. Barb Kelly, 156517. I just wanted to share with you, I find myself wanting to be a person that's a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. So in addressing the board this morning, I wanted to share with you our ideas as a club on how our dogs and handlers will be certified and identified should we have the opportunity to be allowed in other areas of RCSC properties. Following the criteria of the American Kennel Club's requirements to be certified as a Canine Good Citizen Advanced level, We currently have 3 AKC certified evaluators available to certify dogs and their handlers who meet those requirements. Dogs and handlers would be required to be reevaluated every 2 years, which is consistent with what the 2 leading therapy dog organizations require. Teams will be easily identified as the dogs would wear a red vest with the BFDC logo, and it would also say top dog. In addition, the handler would wear a lanyard with a photo ID of the handler and their dog, and their names and RCSC number on the badge. The teams would also have available a current rabies certificate, either a hard copy or a digital photo on their phone, should that be required. We're excited about the opportunities this privilege would allow our club members and their canine companions. Thank you for your consideration, and are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Barb.
Joan, and I think it says Lawbuck? I can't, okay.
Good morning, Joan Lawbach, 144-514. When you've talked about installing the new board members, things were talked about that your goal is for the betterment of the community. I want to make sure that you realize that this opportunity for the dogs to access RCSC property is not just for the 12 dogs that have attained the Canine Good Citizen advanced level. I happen to have one of those 12 dogs, but when I read, whether it's the Independent or Nextdoor, there are complaints about dogs and their handlers. So I think it is for the betterment of the community. The more trained handlers you have living in Sun City, the better it's going to be for the community as a whole. So when people see us out and about with our dogs in the red vest and they approach us, you know, why are you allowed to hike up the hill and I'm not? And we can explain to them what the requirements are, the fact that we do have a dog club here that will walk you through the process to have those requirements, that it's only going to improve the perception the community has of the dogs in the area. My only question about the way things are written is I wasn't sure that last part of the sentence where it says meeting RCSC approval. When I read it, I wasn't sure if that was approval of the individual dog or approval of the event. I'm not a good writer, so I don't know how to rephrase that if necessary, but I understand that it's supposed to be approval of the event, and my suggestion would be to somehow make that more clear. Thank you very much.
Madam Vice President, everyone who signed up to speak has spoken on this motion.
Okay, is there any discussion by the directors? Connie.
I think that the motion actually is pretty clear. It's a sanctioned event, not just not a dog. So it's the Best Friends Dog Club, these highly trained dogs at a sanctioned event. And of course, it does need the approval of management. However, Matthew dictates with his staff, you know, what that's going to be. So that's a further meeting. Did you want to say something?
Director Collins.
I'm just trying to go back to last month. Didn't we take the word sanctioned out?
Yes, we did. It is out on here. I just didn't take it out of your script, so I
Okay.
apologize for that, but it is removed from the motion. Because it's accurate on the agenda. Sorry.
Kevin.
Thank you, Vice President McAdams. Just a clarifying question from management. Are these events outdoors, indoors, both?
As far as I know, they're outdoors. Rocky, do you have indoor? Oh, it's a possibility. But they would have to submit those events to Matthew prior to the event to get an approval.
I mean, for the most part, it's my understanding it would be like outdoor dining at one of the Georges, the beautiful hill we have at Lakeview, around by the softball area, just places where they get to practice and enjoy being a dog and a handler. That's the best part. If there's, I'm assuming it would also be helpful, like when they have one of the parties, because their parties rock. If they could bring those dogs, because that would really be cool for those of us who have dogs that do not obey anything, to see a dog that can actually listen to commands.
Any further questions? Okay, so Secretary Richtmeyer, would you please take the roll call vote?
Director Borski?
Yes.
Director Keiss?
Yes.
Director Collins?
Yes.
Vice President McAdams?
Yes.
Director Ruff?
Yes.
Director Nedesheim?
Yes.
Director Foster?
Yes.
President Fimmel?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So 9 yes and 0 no's.
Okay, with with 9 in favor and 0 opposed, the motion is adopted. So the next item of business is the second reading of a motion by Director Richtmeyer that the expenditure for the replacement of 2 remaining dehumidification units be moved to the capital project expenditure list. I believe that you're going to repeat all the information that
So you don't have to repeat that.
Okay, so Director Richtmeyer, would you please read your motion?
Sure. I move that the expenditure for the replacement of the 2 remaining dehumidification units purchased in 2007 be moved. Wait a second. Be moved from the capital project expenditure monies to the PIF Preservation Improvement Fund expenditure list and approve the use of PIF monies in 2024 for the replacement of the 2 sundial dehumidification units. The estimated operational life for the new dehumidification units is estimated to exceed 15 years with proper scheduled maintenance. The actual cost of this project is estimated to be approximately $1 million.
So Director Richtmeyer, as the maker of this motion, do you wish to speak for its adoption?
These units are really important. It's the last of 5. I don't know, most of you know my background, almost 25 years in designing mechanical systems, so HVAC, plumbing, and fire protection. And I also was an HVAC tech prior to that. If equipment isn't maintained properly, it doesn't last. But also, if you stress equipment by having 4 working units and 1 not working unit, then it wears the 4 working units out more quickly. By being able to replace these units, we'll have 5 units in good working condition, and our maintenance schedules have changed, and we be serviced and maintained, so these puppies better last at least 15 years.
Okay, I see that we have a comment from our management team, and after that...
I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. So Ms. Johnson, please read the names of members who signed up to speak on this motion.
Patrick Gannon.
Okay.
Patrick Gannon, 150056. And I want to speak in support of the motion, but with reservations. The board, as per Board Policy 24, has the authority to approve the use of PIF funds as we know, if a project is over $300,000, and if the project has depreciable life of at least 15 years, which this motion does. The motion, I think, feels to me more like a maintenance item than a facility or a renovation item. Ever since I've been here 5 years now, and it seems like PIF, whenever we listed out PIF, and I went back to the list that was for $100 million, and I just reviewed that, and those things were all new buildings or renovations. And this one, I feel, really flirts with the maintenance side more than capital or creating new buildings. So my reservation is that in approving this motion, we're setting a precedent, or maybe we're reinforcing a precedent that I'm not aware of. But I just would request that this board consider this carefully in the future for these kinds of items. I think these should be somewhere in a regular budget, on an ongoing budget, not taking money out of PIF. I understand why we're doing it now, and I support the motion. But anyway, I just want to say again that I think we need to be very careful about setting a precedent of using PIF funds for things that tend to be more maintenance related. Thank you.
Madam Vice President, everyone who signed up has spoken on this motion.
Is there any discussion by the directors?
Yes.
Director Keiss.
Yeah, Mr. Gannon, you brought up a great point, one that I was hoping to bring up too. So thank you for reinforcing what I wanted to talk about. We have to get this done. It's imperative that we do this, but Mr. Gannon's exactly correct. We need to look at our guidelines. We had to put it in PIF because we're kind of hamstrung with the way we spend money on that. So I think we need to seriously look at our policies to be able to use money in the pools that they should be, as opposed to dipping into PIF for things like this. So we need, as a board, to sit down and figure out how to reword what we do so that monies are used in the appropriate pools, and PIF is maintained for the projects that it was meant to do initially. I think that's imperative for us. But I agree that right now, this is what we have to do. We need to get this equipment purchased. Thank you.
Director Ruff.
I would second what Preston said, but I would also note that we're working on a 5-year rolling budget, and I'm hopeful that that process will prove that we're looking further ahead than today when these things come up, so we won't have a surprise. This wasn't a surprise. It just got stretched out way longer than it should have because they didn't want to spend the money at the time. Maintenance is important, and it needs to be done on time, and we wouldn't be here talking about this if they had worked at a different level previously. Yeah. Thank you.
Secretary Richtmeyer.
Okay, I agree that maintenance has been an issue. I want to let people know that these are very customized units. I mean, that it takes a year for them to be made in order for us to get it. To me, I guess with me, from my background, it's an improvement. It's something that enhances the facility. I consider this to be the equivalent of a renovation with my background. Yes, I understand it. The PIF has always been used for buildings and, remodels that people can see. But believe me, if it doesn't feel good, you guys are going to remember that there's a problem. So it's that behind the scenes stuff, it's the stuff that's not pretty, that is just as important as the wallpaper or the paint color. So that's my soapbox. I'll get off of it for now.
Are there any other director comments, discussions?
Maybe one.
Director Foster.
So I will yield to Director or Secretary Richtmeyer when it comes to the behind-the-scenes mechanics. That is not my expertise. I can shoot a paperclip and wind a rubber band, but I really can't do much more than that. However, as noted by Director Keiss and Director Ruff, this 5-year planning group is involved in attempting, more than attempting, we are drafting some policies and procedures. How far and involved those are going to get, but I think it will go to this gentleman's comments of how do we want to go through the process of approving a PIF or a SIF expenditure, and at what levels do they get approved, and at what time during the year, in order to kind of get away from a little bit of, you know, the squeaky wheel kind of policy that we tend to operate under, that, you know, someone, you know, pounds the table louder, and that's how funds get allocated. And I think we can do much better than that. And we're looking at trying to draft some policies and procedures in order to be a little bit more constructive and a well thought out procedure, so that members and committees and board members know how funds are going to be allocated.
Secretary Richtmeyer.
Okay, I just want people to know that my motion was created at the request of RCSC management. So nobody was pounding a table or anything. It was just simply a request, but I fully understand what Director Foster is saying. So I just wanted to clear that up. It wasn't a wild and crazy idea that I got that let's go spend $1 million on dehumidification units.
I did not intend to.
It's okay.
All right. I actually would like to speak to this as well. I appreciate all the comments that have been made so far, and I do not dispute in the least the importance of getting these dehumidification units in place. However, there are a couple of objections that I would have, and one of those would be that PIF was originally, well, that goes back originally to 1999, but I have some documentation from a board meeting in 2007, which actually had a 3-prong restriction on PIF funds. So not simply the minimum spend of $300,000 and a depreciable life of 15 years, but also the very clear instruction that it was not to be used for regular maintenance and operations. So I think what we're discussing here is simply how this should be paid for, not whether it should be paid for. So I join the others with the objection to the idea that we should be raiding PIF funds to do that, because it looks like we have a lot of money in the PIF account. And that would segue into my second objection, and that's simply that projections about how much money we will have available in PIF, which is dependent on an annual basis on the number of homes that are transferred and are required to pay the PIF fee, which is currently $4,000 at a transfer. We know we generally have between $6 and $8 million a year, depending on how active the real estate market is. But those funds have actually all already been spoken for or assigned to particular projects. And I think that whenever a request like this comes in, and this will address a second business item that we have in front of us today as well, is that anytime we say, let's use PIF funds for something, it means displacing something else that actually was already earmarked for a PIF budget. And we can't be making decisions like this, or I don't think we should be making decisions like this without having a discussion about, okay, what is being delayed, what is being postponed, or what is being eliminated in order to create space for us to be able to do this. So, any further comments?
I second your comment.
Okay, so Secretary Richtmeyer, please take the roll call vote.
Treasurer Borski?
Yes.
Director Keiss?
Yes.
Director Collins?
Yes.
Vice President McAdams?
No.
Director Ruff?
Yes.
Director Foster?
Yes.
Director Nedsheim?
Yes.
President Fimmel?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So 8 yes and 1 no.
Okay, with 8 in favor and 1 opposed, the motion is adopted. The next item of business is the second reading of a motion by Director Collins to fund the PIF project for the Best Friends Dog Club. Director Collins, would you please read your motion?
I move to fund the PIF project for the Best Friends Dog Club, BFDC building with the amount of $1.5 million.
Director Collins, as maker of this motion, do you wish to speak for its adoption?
Yes, please. Approximately 3 years ago, the Best Friends Dog Club was put on the PIF. No monetary amount got put in. It was oversight, whatever reason, but it was put on the PIF. They are now up over 350 members, so the club is growing. And back in when they built Fairway, they lost their area. They had the area and it was replaced with lawn bowling. So this is something that they need, and we seem to be a community where the dogs are a big part of this community. People use them for peace, happiness, companionship. So it's something that would be beneficial. And if they could have a facility where they could put their equipment and not have to lug that big, heavy equipment inside, outside. I mean, we're not all that young where we can move all this equipment without getting hurt. So I'm asking that we fund this project, and then it will go still to the 5-year plan, and they will go from there. But at least it will have the funding which it should have had 3 years ago. Thank you.
Ms. Johnson, please read the names of the members who signed up to speak on this motion.
Cheryl Sargent.
Good morning. Cheryl Sargent, 122262. As you may be aware, Best Friends Dog Club has a history of being offered less than adequate space and accepting simply so we can provide training for our members and their canine companions. In order to offer the social interactions expected as a social club, we've had to seek what solutions are available at other facilities, outside parks, outside patios. We were thrilled to have the RCSC Board of Directors vote to add an indoor climate-controlled facility to the PIF after many years of requesting year-round space for our club, our 30-year-old club. We certainly understand that things happen slowly and methodically, and rightfully so. It takes time and effort to move forward. That being said, right now, we're stagnant. We're asking that the motion to fund be approved so we can at least start that forward progress. Please offer us the opportunity to see the light at the end of the tunnel and vote for our club's future. Thank you.
Barb Kelly.
Good morning again. Barb Kelly, 156517. As the club's director of training, I got to tell you, it would be awesome to have an indoor facility. The opportunity to train all year round would provide a great service to our community. Not only would it increase our training options, it would also provide us a place to meet socially with our dogs and celebrate their achievements in the different events our dogs train and compete in. Additional space would also allow us to host fun matches and demonstrations that would educate others in our community about activities they might enjoy doing with their dog. It would also be great if we could partner with local veterinarians or the county to offer rabies clinics at a reduced rate. The possibilities are endless, but mostly we just want a safe, large, climate-controlled facility where we can enjoy training our dogs and spending time with our friends. Thank you.
Joan Laubach?
I don't have anything to add.
All right. Madam Vice President, everyone has spoke that signed up.
Thank you. Is there any discussion by the directors?
Yes.
Director Ruff.
I spoke about this last time. I don't know where the $1.5 million came from. Mike Whitford, do you have an estimate for like a 10,000 square foot building?
Thank you, Director Ruff. This particular process has been pretty disjointed. We have done some research on the side, thinking that this is coming, but the numbers I've heard is a 10,000 square foot facility. So at a minimal estimate at $200 a square foot, that's $2 million right there. So I did not provide the $1.5 million. So if that's the figure, from my point of view, the question is, do I build them something for 1.5, or do I build them what they really want and go through the process of, oh, it's really going to cost X dollars instead of 1.5 million? The other questions is, well, where are we going to put this thing? So we've been kind of looking at that. There's not a lot of options here in Sun City for a new facility of that size. So, but we'll do. I'm sure Matthew will have me work on whatever is directed. But all of this work, legwork that we've done so far, has been informal at best.
Thank you. Additionally, well, what I want to point out is the board doesn't have a process for how we do this. And we need to have a process when we're spending money. And we're going into that 5-year rolling budget. This should be part of that. And I think it's inappropriate to have this item voted on this way. Let's turn it over when the board will get a chance to look at the budget when the 5-year plan comes forward, and then we can say, we want to make an emphasis to get the dog park put in. When does it fit? What do we have to move? And we can do it in a logical, positive way rather than voting, not really knowing how much it's going to cost, where it's going to fit, where we want to do it in the budget, what's the most important thing to get done. That's just my take on it. Thank you.
Director Collins.
Yes, the one thing here is this was already put on the PIF many, many years ago, and there should have been something put in there with price. And by giving them some money to work with, they can find out if it will fit where they've decided. We've heard a couple of where it might, they're thinking of putting it. And it will also be, they can look at the price of steel buildings and all of that. Just because you put $1.5 million into that doesn't mean that you have to spend that $1.5 million to decide if it's a feasible project. But it gives them some funding to look at it and come up with pricing and all that more accurate, and the location. So I strongly urge that this be passed, because it should have been funded when it was put on before. And until this plan that we're going to come up with is done and ready, I mean, if we wait until it's done and ready, it may never come. You don't know. So let's just get the funding that should have been here to begin with and go from there, and then we'll get it in the plan and we'll work from there. Thank you.
Director Geist.
Well, I agree with what Director Ruff has said and what Director Foster said previously. Our processes for how we decide to spend money, it's just, they're poor. But at the same time, sometimes you have to address the wrongs that were done in the past. And what was done to the Best Friends Dog Club when they lost their outdoor training facility for a small space that's not adequate for them, and money and a non-money allocated line was put in the PIF budget was just wrong also. So as much as I don't like not having a process and not going through a good process to decide where to put this money, I think at some point we have to address what was done to them in the past and fix it, and that's what I think we're trying to do here.
Director Nettesheim.
Thanks. I just want to ask a clarification question. We're not talking about another outdoor dog park, right? We're actually talking about an indoor training facility for agility and behavior classes, potentially pet vet visits, I heard mentioned, but it's not another outdoor park. This is very specifically for training dogs to behave better. Okay.
So I would also like to speak to this as well. I think that the word that Mr. Weeprud used is very apropos here. It's been a very disjointed thing. And I absolutely support the idea of providing the Best Friends Dog Club with a facility that corrects old wrongs and allows them for future growth. It's so exciting to me to see how this club has expanded and grown and to understand what the future potential is. I might like also to point out that there are a number of other rapidly growing clubs that would also like to be able to do their activities year-round as well. And the fact that this is on PIF means that it is going forward. It will go forward whether or not we adopt a dollar amount today that we assign to this. So as I mentioned earlier, my objections are, again, because I don't think there has been a holistic approach to how we choose to spend or allocate PIF funds. To me, this is shortchanging the process. We have a 5-year planning team that is working right now on this, and the fact that the board did approve an indoor training facility for the Best Friends Dog Club is part of their deliberations. And if we sort of jumpstart that today by assigning a number that we don't know if it's even in the ballpark, to me is actually shortchanging a process that we have in place that would be much more holistic and much more defensible. And I guess I would also just like to point out that it may be, we had a member come up at the member exchange, at the last member exchange meeting saying, you know, we may already have an adequate building for this. This might not require any new building whatsoever. And those are the discussions that I think need to take place before we randomly assign some number to a project that is going forward regardless of whether we pass this motion today as well. So, any further comments? All right. Secretary Richtmeyer, please take the roll call vote.
Director Borski?
Yes.
Director Keiss?
Yes.
Director Collins?
Yes.
Vice President McAdam?
No.
Director Ruff?
No.
Director Nettesheim?
Yes.
Director Foster?
Yes.
President Fimmel?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So a vote of 7-2. The motion passes. One step closer.
So with 7 in favor and 2 opposed, the motion is adopted. The next item of business is the second reading of a motion by Director Keiss to amend Board Policy 17 on golf rules and regulations. Director Keiss, could you please read your motion?
I move to amend Board Policy Number 17 titled Golf, section titled General Golf Rules and Regulations as follows, and I'll just read what is going to remain there after things are taken out because there's a lot that was taken out. The Director of Golf, all guests under 18 years of age and younger must be accompanied by an adult. Children under 8 years of age are not permitted to play the courses or use practice facilities. Children 8 years of age and older are permitted on all driving ranges and practice facilities and may play executive courses after 1 p.m. 7 days a week. Children 12 years of age and older are permitted to use all golf courses and practice facilities. During the period of April 1 through October 31st, organized junior golf events may be booked for participants 5 years and older. Events must be recognized by a local, state, or national organization, be highly supervised, and follow established guidelines for booking events. Cardholder is not required to play with an adult guest of 19 years of age or older, but the cardholder must be in good standing and send his or her valid and current RCSC card with the guest to sign in. Subparagraph 1 says all RCSC member and privileged cardholders, here and after referred to as cardholders, in good standing and in their invited guests may use RCSC golf facilities for a reduced rate by presenting a member or privilege card. All players and their guests must check in with RCSC personnel at the pro shop prior to entering the course and at least 15 minutes prior to the scheduled tee time. After 5 p.m. when pro shops are closed, all course no-fee golf permits and after 5 golf cardholders are allowed to play without checking in with RCSC personnel. Paragraph 2 goes, the director of golf and his or her designee shall have the authority to enact and enforce any administrative rule or policy which contributes to good golf etiquette, speeds up play, and/or protects the safety of the golfers or spectators. Such rules may be posted in the pro shops and/or on the golf course or on the scorecard. The remaining paragraph 3 says renewal of annual golf permits and passes can be done prior to the expiration date. However, if the card is due to expire after such time that there is an increase in the fee for an annual golf permit or pass, the renewal will be done at the new increased rate or at an earlier date. If annual property assessments are not current, annual golf permits or passes will not be honored.
So Director Kais, as maker of the motion, do you wish to speak first for its adoption?
Yeah, all the change to this policy does is give the day-to-day operations of golf for specific activities back to the director of golf and allow him some flexibility to take care of our members when necessary. To me, a lot of what's in Board Policy 17 now is micromanaging the Director of Golf's operations. We've hired a professional to do this, and I think we need to empower him with the tools to be able to do his job without having to look to the board or without having to say to members, which I know he's done in the past, I can't do that because Board Policy 17 restricts me. So I want to give this back to the professional who should be running our golf operations and give them the flexibility to do what's best for our members and their guests.
Ms. Johnson, please read the names of members who signed up to speak on this motion.
Madam Vice President, no one signed up to speak on this motion.
Is there any discussion by the directors? Secretary Rickmeyer.
I have just a question and a possible additional edit. Brian, since you're golf senior leader, are you still classified as the director of golf, or do we need to change it to golf senior leader?
I would imagine for board policy, it probably should be changed to golf senior leader.
Would you accept that as a friendly amendment?
I would, but the titles that have been changed to for leadership management team are incorrect in several spaces. I think I'm fine with it doing here, but if we're going to do that, I think we need to make the title changes across the board in our board policies. That might be a different motion.
What do you think, Vice President? Oh, sorry.
This is also our second reading. I think if the title gets changed at a later date, then we should do the change at that point.
Just asking.
Director Reff.
Target of opportunity, we fix it now, we don't have to do it later. And it's a simple fix. We're going to make a motion to amend paragraph 2 instead of the director of golf, the senior leader of golf, and we're done.
What is the actual formal title, Brian?
Senior leader.
Director Kais, senior golf leader.
Senior golf leader, okay.
I've got golf senior leader.
Golf senior.
It's golf senior leader.
Yeah, because it's non-golf senior leader and it's senior golf or golf senior.
See, it's so new, he doesn't even know what his title is still.
Golf senior leader is what it is.
Connie, did you make a motion?
I asked for if I could do a friendly amendment. I'm not sure what's required on that. Do I need to make a motion for a friendly amendment? Okay, I make a motion to friendly amend to change the wording to say golf senior leader in item number 2.
Is there a second? Seconded by Director Ruff. Any discussion? Secretary Rickmeyer, please take the roll call vote.
Okay. Treasurer Borski?
Yes.
This is on, excuse me, to the friendly amendment only.
To the friendly amendment only, hang tight.
Okay.
Sorry, folks, still learning the job. Okay, let's start this over again. Okay, so the friendly amendment only, Vice President McAdam?
Yes.
Director Nettleschheim?
Yes.
Director Keiss?
Yes.
Director Foster?
Yes.
Director Collins?
Yes.
Director Ruff?
Yes.
Treasurer Borski?
Yes.
President Fimmel?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I vote yes, so 9-0.
Okay, with 9 in favor and 0 opposed, the amendment is adopted, that we change the Director of Golf to Golf Senior Leader. Now, Director Richtmeyer, would you take the roll call vote on the motion with the amendment included?
Okay. Treasurer Borski?
Yes.
Director Keiss?
Yes.
Director Collins?
Yes.
Vice President McAdams?
Yes.
Director Ruff?
Yes.
Director Foster?
Yes.
Director Nettleschheim?
Yes.
President Fimmel?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so 9 yes, 0 no.
With 9 in favor and 0 opposed, the motion is adopted. So under new business, we changed the agenda to eliminate the approval of the U.S. Open lawn bowling, by the way, which is a marvelous opportunity for us all to experience something world-class come November. I believe that concludes our business items for today. Director Ruff.
I'd just like to take the opportunity to say that I fully support a building for the dog club. I just don't like the process that we use. Thank you.
Madam President.
Yes, Director Collins.
I just wanted to say something about the GAC. The GAC has been working very hard to come up with the budget for golf. Golf Advisory Committee. So they're working very hard to come up with something for the budget for next year rather than wait till the last minute and then the board and management hit them with fees and whatever. So I have not seen them work this hard, I don't think ever. And they are really making progress in a positive manner, and it's a great thing to see. Thank you.
Okay, the next exchange meeting will be held here as usual on the second Monday of the month on April 8th at 9 a.m. The next meeting of the Board of Directors will be held on April 25th at 9 a.m. And I might just point out that both of these meetings I will be chairing, not because there's anything afoot regarding office holders here, but because our president hopefully will be completely recovered and at that time traveling out of town. So please make sure that you mark your calendars. I will just put out there long in advance, the annual membership meeting will be held here on March 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. There being no further business and without objection, this meeting will be adjourned. Have a great day. Remember to turn on your devices and enjoy this beautiful corner of the world.
written production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.